Okay, so we looked at a very simple function in the last video, and now in this video we're going to continue in the same program, but add to it another function that makes use of what we call parameters. And this is a very important concept when we're discussing functions. So we talked about the print char function that will print a simple character, a smiley face in that last example. And then we also discussed the three steps that you will go through when you're setting up a function: the function declaration, which is the one-liner at the top of the program; the function definition, which is the function that we define at the bottom of the program; and then calling your function. So let's add a second function to this program. You see I'm up at the top here. Now our print char function that we did in the last example is pretty limited. It'll print a smiley face, and that's it. What if I wanted to leave the door open and maybe let the user decide what character to print? Maybe they want a smiley face, maybe they want a heart, or maybe we can just kind of make the function a little more open-ended and make use of a parameter that will allow us to pass a character to the function, and it will print that character, whatever it is. So let's add a second version of print char. Now look, I'm up at the top. We're going to start with the declaration as always. So we'll say void. I told you to take a leap of faith on that for now. We're calling the function print char just like we did last time. But instead of doing the empty parentheses here, we're going to put what we call parameter in here. And the parameter, now this is the declaration, so I'm not going to actually put too much in here, but we said that this function is going to accept a character that will then be printed because we're leaving the door open. It's not necessarily going to be a smiley face this time. So that's going to be a character. So this function is going to have what we call a character parameter. So I'm going to end that right there. So that's the declaration. Now let's go to the bottom and define this. Like I said, it's a good idea to copy and then paste below, but you need to be careful to get rid of that semicolon. And then in the definition here, which is what we're doing, we have to give our character parameter a name. Why don't we just call it CH? And really, this is like a variable declaration. You could do this in a program. You've seen this type of thing. You see we're doing this type of thing in our first week of class. So this is really a parameter is a variable declaration when it comes down to it. But this is a special variable in that it belongs to the function, and main can't use it. Only the function uses it. So this is that's what a parameter is. It's a variable that belongs to the function. And it really allows us to pass values into that function. So let's we're coding the definition here, and instead of hard coding the smiley face like we did before, we're going to simply print CH, whatever that may be when we run this program. Okay, so there's our definition. Now we have a parameterized function that accepts one character coming into the function. So let's do it. We're going to call this function. You know what? I think I'll comment out this one for now, just to simplify things. And we're going to call the print char function. And once again, when you want to call a function, you just call it by name. Hey, you print char, run your code. Notice when I open the parentheses now, I get this little sign pops up, and it's saying, okay, you've got two versions of print char defined in this program. This one is the parameterized one, but then if I kind of arrow through the list, you see the one that has no parameters. So we'll talk about the implications of that. But I want to use the one that I just did, which is the parameterized function. Why don't we pass it the oh, you know what? That's the regular smiley face. Let's pass it the solid smiley face. That looks like a marshmallow. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, see, in the first one we had the hollow smiley face. This is the solid smiley face. Okay, you know what? I'll call it again. more characters. All right, so we have the smiley face, heart, and diamond. Once again, we have left the door open. And, basically, the compiler sees this function call. It says, oh, I've got to run print char. And she's passing me this escape sequence, \02. That is going to be passed into the parameter of print char and then printed. This is called, here, the variable that we define to accept that value that we're passing is called a parameter, okay? Very important terminology here. When you are passing the value to the function, when you're calling the function, that is called an argument, okay? So notice the difference. The parameter is the variable that will accept the argument, and then that's the argument. You think of the argument as like a baseball, and then the parameter is like the mitt that holds the baseball. Okay, so you know what? Just real quickly, I'm going to toggle a breakpoint, and we're going to step through this so you can see. I'll go ahead and run this. All right, so I ran normally up until that point, and now we're going to press F11 on the keyboard. All right, now I'm at the front door here of print char, this version of print char that has the parameter. And watch when I hover over CH, it's telling me there's something in there. Now, because that's an escape sequence, it's kind of hard to decipher the value, but this is my smiley face coming through the door here. And once the smiley face is in CH, this is the hollow smiley, or the solid smiley face. Once that's in CH, then it'll be printed to the screen. So the parameter is being passed. One more very important concept that we've done in this program, I'm going to end this. What we've done, now I have two versions of print char in this program. We have print char that has no parameters, and then we have print char which has a single character parameter. This is called overloading functions. Okay, so these are overloaded functions. And I want you to know that term. Overloaded functions have these two criteria. Okay, they have the same name and then different parameter lists. So do you see how these are overloaded? They have the same name. This one's called print char. This one's called print char, typed exactly the same, so that's the same name. They also have different parameter lists. The first one has an empty parameter list. It has no parameters. The second one has a single character parameter. So those are different. One has none, one has a character parameter, same name, different parameter list. And it really is a simple concept. If you have two functions and they satisfy these criteria, then they are overloaded. Okay, and you can have 4 or 5 versions of the function as long as the name is the same and their parameter lists are all different. They are overloaded. You may see a question on one of my exams that looks something like this. You may be given a couple of function declarations, and it'll say something like this. Are these functions overloaded? Yes or no? Are these functions overloaded? Do they have the same name? This is print char 1, print char 2. That's not the same. These are not overloaded functions. These are same name, character for character, different parameter lists. Okay, and if I ever ask you to write overloaded functions for me, do not give me something like this. Students do that a lot. Don't do it. That's not overloaded. Same name, period. Different parameter lists. That's the definition of overloading.